for a look at the crypto industry heading into the new year. Michael Sonnenschein, Grayscale CEO. We got a crypto super PAC trying to get things done. Maybe that's what's needed to get Congress to finally do something. Michael, you part of this?
So that was actually just announced this morning. You know, for us at Grayscale over the last year, we've spent, I can't even tell you how many weeks on the Hill, really ensuring that we're advocating for our investors and making sure that as our regulators are looking at crypto, they're doing so through a really informed lens. So for us, it's really been more about education.
You think the easy gains have been made? People couldn't figure out what was happening with Bitcoin. Was it moved from 25 to, I think it almost got to 45 at one point. But now, you know, we're talking about 41,000. Even gold, I think, was trying to get through 2,100, and it failed in trying to do that. This was all interest rate related and pivot related, and the perception that maybe the Fed eases next year with some cuts. When does it refocus on a spot ETF? And do you expect that to get things moving again?
Well, I think if you look back at this year, the price appreciation you've seen in Bitcoin has really been driven by both the macro and micro forces. I think you're right on the macro front. Inflationary pressures, rising rates have caused investors to think about Bitcoin as a store of value or, you know, a hedge in their portfolios. But on the micro front, you know, earlier this summer when my team had our court victory, I think that certainly unlocked a lot of optimism amongst investors about GBTC and the prospects for it to uplist as a spot Bitcoin ETF. So as we turn the corner into the new year, I know there's a lot of focus on that from the investment community.
The 65,000, 100,000, I don't know what you think it is in the cards, but what do you think it's already in the asset right now, if you want to call it an asset? Is it already there? Once it happens, do you expect it to go to new highs, or it just seems like we've already paid a lot of it forward with the move we saw from, I mean, it was as low as 17,000 this year.
Sure. Well, you know, Joe, I'm not one to make price predictions, but I do think there is a lot of optimism again in the market. I think a lot of investors are adding Bitcoin to their portfolios. And when we look ahead to the hopeful approval for spot Bitcoin ETFs, it really is going to unlock the opportunity to a part of the investment community that, for better or worse, but I would say for worse, has unfortunately been locked out of the opportunity to participate in having Bitcoin exposure in their portfolios. So we're really talking about the advised market here in the US, which is today about $30 trillion worth of advised wealth that we hope the approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs, the uplisting of GBTC, will allow for that opportunity and for those investors to partake in it as well.
The super PAC, I think, is going to earmark certain crypto-friendly members of Congress. But you've got, you know, on the other hand, when Jamie Dimon gets in front of senators and says that the only use case for Bitcoin is for terrorists and money launderers, and then you got Elizabeth Warren and other senators all nodding, I mean, you got to worry about that. You don't, you know, a spot ETF is one thing, but an outright ban isn't totally, look at that. The only use case for, I mean, that is, I don't know. Jamie's a smart guy. It's always kind of surprising to me when I read something like that. But he's not, you know, he's pretty outspoken and frank about what he does believe. So you can't, I don't think you can just put the worst case scenario aside that eventually Congress does something really bad to crypto.
Well, whether you're the CEO of a major financial institution or a sitting politician, you're, of course, going to be able to have your own personal opinions about these new technologies. That could be crypto, that could be Bitcoin specifically, but it's actually those very same financial institutions and, you know, the types of bills that, you know, sitting politicians are looking at now that are actually modifying themselves to account for the needs of modern day investors and modern day citizens. And that includes having access to new technologies like Bitcoin. So you can have personal opinions, but, you know, changes are very much already underway.